Thanks, Nompu. This is your Money on Market Sense, where we take a look at your personal finance, and a little later I'll be bringing you SME on point. So Black Friday sales are expected to skyrocket despite the outbreak of the coronavirus, which has led to massive job losses. Consumers are urged to use credit responsibly this Black Friday to avoid being over-indebted. The largest credit bureau in the country, TransUnion, says that its research into credit behavior last year shows that many people struggled to meet their credit obligations in months that followed Black Friday.
This year, some retailers started offering Black Friday sales from the beginning of November. This was done to try and alleviate overcrowding, as retailers have to comply with COVID-19 regulations. But this is also an opportunity for retailers to maximize profit, and some have even extended their sales offers beyond Black Friday. Consumers are urged to plan for their purchases, have a budget, and to buy mostly what they need.
What we know when I look back at last year's data is we know that many South Africans took advantage of Black Friday, and many of them actually purchased things on credit. And as a credit bureau, we get to see that increase in spending. So we saw over a 4.5% increase in credit card spending compared to the previous month in October. We also saw an increased usage of revolving accounts, which you typically use to buy furniture, electronics, and clothing.
TransUnion says their research shown that many people are likely to take out loans and increase their spending during Black Friday. Last year, there was an increase of 13% in credit accounts opened ahead of Black Friday. There was also a 35% increase in retail installment accounts opened, and these accounts are normally used for furniture and electronics. If you're going to use credit for your purchases, you might not necessarily benefit from the bargains due to the high interest you will be paying when you swipe your credit card.
We found that 6 months after last year's Black Friday, that almost half the accounts were already in arrears for people that took on credit to buy these Black Friday purchases. So the theory, and not just the theory, the data tells us that for the last 2 years, people that have taken on debt that they couldn't manage or couldn't pay off result in actually impacting their credit profile and impacting the ability to take on further credit facilities. What advice we can, however, give is that people should look to say, are there purchases that I must have from a Black Friday perspective versus may have?
Many consumers are opting to buy online to avoid the risk of contracting COVID-19. PayFlex, which is an online payment system, says it has seen a 100% retail sales volume increase since the beginning of November. Experts have some advice on how to avoid being a victim of scammers when shopping online.
You've got to use common sense. My grandfather always used to say to me that common sense is not that common. But the reality is that, you in the bricks and mortar world, you're not going to go and leave your credit card on the table with a post-it note with your PIN. And that's the same thing that you'd apply in the online world. You're not going to put your credit card number together with your PIN on an email and send it to somebody. In the real world, you're not going to go and shop from a store or a corner shop that's just been set up and looks dodgy. A brand that you don't know. And so when you go online, stick to the stores and the brands that you know and are reputable, and brands that you've been referred to by other people.
You need to be cautious about spending habits to avoid being over-indebted after Black Friday. And just because something is labeled cheaper doesn't necessarily mean that it is. Try to do your homework days before Black Friday so that you are certain that prices have reduced. Naledi Matlapeng, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Let's take this further with John Manyike, who's the head of financial education at Old Mutual. John, it's been a long time. Welcome to Your Money on Market Sense. Have you done your shopping yet? Happy Black Friday?
Well, yeah, I had at least 1 or 2 items that I had to just make sure that we get to replace something, but that's it.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear that at least you're participating. We want the economy to still keep moving. Tell us about your thoughts about, I know that consumers over the last year in 2019 have spent about 6 billion rands on Black Friday. Do you think this is likely to happen again? Are you going to be part of the 6 billion consumers?
Look, I have my doubt if South Africans will spend as much as they did last year. Remember, we're talking about a year where we'd had job losses, we've had salary cuts, and I doubt a lot of employers would be paying out bonuses, year-end bonuses, this year. And for that reason, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see the kind of traffic that we've seen over the years, and that people would actually spend at the levels that they actually did as a result of where we are currently.
Yeah. So as much as people have lost their jobs and others, don't have jobs anymore, and income has been affected because of the COVID virus, we have the other segment of society who still had their jobs and probably saved money to spend on this Black Friday. How can we advise them about how to use that money that they saved so that they don't find themselves with buyer's or shopping remorse and regrets afterwards?
I think it's important to actually go and shop with a plan, because if you don't have a budget and you don't have a plan, and there's a risk that you'll end up buying things that you actually don't need, because you actually didn't have a plan.
Yeah. Let's talk about those. Sorry, John, please do continue.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that, evidence or research tells us there's a relationship between mathematics and financial literacy. Mm-hmm. So when you buy, actually, you need to understand that if they say this is a bargain and you're buying a bundle, you need to understand what the unit cost is, because you might find that it's actually better off buying, a bigger quantity, or even, smaller quantities of the same item to actually get a bargain. So you need to be, doing your mathematics right to make sure you're capitalizing on those bargains if it's a bargain. Yeah. But having said that, people need to shop within their means. You don't need to break the bank to participate in Black Friday.
Yeah. John, there are other people who said that the kind of sales that we see now aren't necessarily sales. You find that in other retailers, it has been the same price. So what has been your experience in terms of that? This has been coming up a lot, particularly on social media.
Look, you have to appreciate the skill of marketers, because when they profile, when they market Black Friday, they really make you believe that this is an opportunity of a lifetime. But in reality, I don't think it cuts across all items. There might be a couple of items that are on special, but if those items are actually not on your radar or not things that you're looking for, you might not actually see this 50% or even 70% off that, sometimes you see these signs that say you can get up to. But I understand that also English tell, if they say up to, it doesn't mean all items are marked down to 50%. There may be selected items which you could get, up to 50% if they're easier.
Yeah. John, just let me know, what is the wisdom of bulk buying right now? If you decide that I'm going to buy so that I save my grocery bill for January to March, for instance, making sure that I buy cleaning detergents, for instance, in bulk, is there wisdom in that?
Well, I suppose there is, if you've got the means, especially if you're going to be buying more of non-perishable items. But if you're going to be buying lots of items that are perishable with an expiry date, unfortunately, you'll be forced to eat tomato sauce and mayonnaise in 2 weeks or 3 weeks because you are trying to race against the expiry date. So you need to shop wisely if you're deciding to buy things in bulk. So I think those are things that we need to look at. But again, don't buy something just because it's on sale, just because you say buy because it's something that you actually need. Yeah. It's a pity. I've looked at the different pamphlets. I unfortunately haven't seen any Black Friday on stationery and uniform. Hopefully in future, the retailers might just help in that regard. But, I think those are the kind of things that we want to see.
You want to have a bargain
but of course, others are... Absolutely. Others are expecting visitors over the festive season, and they want to avoid a situation where they have to go back and buy again. So we need to be wise when it comes to shopping for the festive season if we can capitalize on Black Friday.
Yeah. John Manyike, the head of financial education at Old Mutual, thank you so much. We've enjoyed your wisdom. And he does say that don't buy things just because they're on sale. Buy them because you need them. You don't want to find yourself in January having rice with mayonnaise or tomato sauce. So do be careful with your finances. And it's now time for SME on Point. The World Health Organization estimates that 12 in every 100,000 women are victims of femicide in South Africa. During the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, the government-based gender-based violence and femicide command center received over 12,000 cases in the first 3 weeks of lockdown. A fashion designer in Kimberley is now taking his fashion to create awareness on the scourge. Our reporter Reginald Witboy spoke to him and filed this report with cameraman Thapelo Khomotsoane.
Cameras, lights and action. The fashion industry, like many others, struggled during the COVID-19 pandemic. For a fashion designer like Denzel Pillay, he is still soldiering on amidst adversity. Denzel Pillay is a self-taught fashion designer and makeup artist. He's been in the industry for the last 4 years. His aim is to extend his creativity and create a platform for aspiring models. Let's catch up with him and his creative juice. Denzel, what inspired you to enter the fashion industry?
So in 2017, I was in a relationship with someone, and they told me, why don't I be part of the designer group? So I was like, but I'm not a fashion designer. And then I took the step to actually challenge myself. And with that, I did. There was a lot of challenges in the beginning. I didn't actually know how to sew. I had to learn myself. I took the next step for me to actually go back to the drawing board and just learn myself and do more research on what I can do to improve if I want to become a fashion designer.
But the industry is marred with a lot of challenges, and certainly one Pillay can attest to.
I did not have the right equipment to actually start a business for myself. And at that time, I was actually hustling my way through, because to be in Cape Town, it can be quite expensive. And coming from Kimberley and going to Cape Town, the lifestyle is very different.
Pillay's theme for this year is gender-based violence, a scourge South Africa is facing daily. Models say it's important to fight this ongoing problem in the country.
Gender-based violence is a violence against a specific gender. Sometimes it is extremely harmful and become fatal. I am fully against gender-based violence because it is an increasing problem in South Africa.
Gender-based violence is actually very personal in my life, as I was a victim before. People say walk away, but it's not easy saying it. It took me 14 years to actually walk away, and therefore I'm here today to encourage women out there to take a stand for themselves, and I guarantee them there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Firstly, it's something that our country's been gripped with for quite a while. Recent stats have shown that more than 50% of females have actually been murdered due to death by an intimate male partner. So it's always been there, but I think this pandemic has kind of highlighted it and brought it out for us to see and to know that it's actually an issue.
It's affecting many people negatively, in various forms of abuse. And I think the nice thing about this pageant, this photo shoot, as we all know, photo shoots are meant to make a statement, and I think that's what we need with raising awareness with gender-based violence. We need to make a statement. And what Denzel did here is he brought fashion and the need to stand up for people into one building, so to say.
His love and drive for the industry remains resolute. He intends to broaden his passion.
I would like to extend the fashion shows, not only in Kimberley and Cape Town and Johannesburg, because those are the main places where my clients come from. So I do want to branch out further. I actually want to take this overseas. That's a dream and one of my goals, and I do believe that it can be true.
And for models like these, having the opportunity to strut their stuff in Pillay's work, he certainly hopes to achieve his main goal, as well as creating job opportunities for others. His focus is not to allow his light be dimmed, but ramping on through the action. Reginald Witboy, SABC News, Kimberley.
Thank you so much to Denzel Pillay for sharing his story with SME OnPoint. Remember, we are on Facebook at SME OnPoint. So the week of the 7th to the 14th of December, the Buy Black Foundation will spearhead a Buy Black campaign, which is aimed at encouraging consumers to spend more of their income on Black-owned products and services. The foundation says this is in the interest of fighting poverty, reducing inequality, and increasing economic activity. One of the goals of the campaign is to get over 10 million South Africans to spend a minimum of 100 rands a day on Black-owned products and services in 7 days. Sihle Bam is the founder of the Buy Black Foundation, and he joins us via Zoom. Sihle, thank you so much for joining us on SME OnPoint. Do tell us more about this campaign and the motivation behind it.
Hello, Diabo, and thank you so much for hosting me today. The reason we are doing the Buy Black Week campaign is very simple. A lot of research has been done about the South African economy. We are living in the world's most unequal country, where over 90% of South Africa's wealth belongs to just 10% of South Africa's population. And the reason for that is very simple. Less than 10% of consumer spending is spent on Black-owned products and services. So what we are here to do as the Buy Black Foundation, we are here to reduce economic inequality in our country. We are here to decrease the rate of poverty, and that is by directing consumers to Black-owned products and services.
Let's talk about one of your goals, which is to circulate about 7 billion rands in 7 days. You're asking people to spend a minimum of 100 rands a day throughout that 7 days. What other ways can people contribute to reaching this goal of yours of 7 billion? And what is the role of small businesses in that, in making themselves visible so that we as consumers are able to see their products and services? Sihle, in case you didn't hear me.
South Africa has a population of 59 million people. It's at around 17.
Sihle, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
South Africa has a population of 59 million people. So our target is to get at least 10 million South African consumers participating in Buy Black Week. Now, that's just over 15% of South Africa's population. So it's a very achievable goal. And what we're saying is, can everybody spend at least 100 rand on a Black-owned product or service every day for 7 days? Now, that means each person is spending 700 rand over the week. Now, if you take the 700 and you multiply that by 10 million consumers, you're getting a circulation of 7 billion rand in the Black community in just 1 week. That's basically our target for Buy Black Week. We are currently mobilizing different organizations. We are marketing Buy Black Week, and we're inviting consumers to come on board and to support this in the interest of a better and more equal South African economy.
Yeah. Sihle, where can one see a database of Black-owned businesses in case, you want to buy from a certain, you want to buy a certain item and you want to make sure that in that particular week you want to make sure that it's from a Black-owned company? Where do you have a database where you can direct consumers, and also where small businesses can register so that they're able to sell their products and services?
Yes, sure. We have created the Buy Black Business Directory, which is a digital platform where people can locate Black-owned products and services in various parts of South Africa. The directory can be found on www.buyblacknow.org.za. But over and above the directory, Diabo, we are also challenging consumers to go and spend on Black-owned businesses within their immediate surroundings. People know who the Black-owned businesses are in their areas. People know who's selling fruits and vegetables, the black-owned restaurant, the black-owned bakery, the clothing store. You know, people know where to find the black-owned businesses, and we're challenging people to take initiative, go out there, go to the townships, spend your money on the townships. And I think you'll be very interested to know that the last 3 days of Buy Black Week is what we call Kasi Weekend, where we are saying, can the country drive, or everybody, every consumer, can we drive to the nearest township and spend our money as a means of boosting the township economy as well? So the directory is kind of like an add-on. It shouldn't be a priority, but if you need it, it's there.
All right. Sihle Bam, thank you very much for joining us on SME On Point, and I hope that our viewers will take advantage of the Buy Black campaign, which runs from the 7th to the 14th, and those in business will be able to register on the directory, as he mentioned that they have a directory, and I hope that we will help the money to circulate in our townships and our surrounding areas. Well, that is all from SME On Point for this week. After the break, we have Books on Point with my colleague Tesh Aronson.
It's time for Monate. Get unlimited home Wi-Fi for every budget, for every need, with 4 megabytes per second for 100